Welcome back to Transfer Review, the show where we put silly season under the microscope. I believe this may be the final episode in the series. Obviously, the transfer window closing next week. So who better to join me than Sam Abasaki? How's it going, mate?
I'm good, bro. I'm happy. I'm not happy. Not gonna lie. Yesterday, kind of, I was upset about the result. Thought we should have won it. To be honest, the only thing that kind of gave me a bit of made me laugh a little bit was when Dyer just ran off the pitch randomly, and then Jose Mourinho going into the change room like say this is WWE to get him out. Like that was hilarious, bro. That was too funny, man.
Yeah, no, I fully respect him for that, and yeah, the meme content that came out afterwards was priceless, wasn't it?
Was too good, man. How are you anyway?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Finally feeling transfer window fatigue. I feel like we've done a lot of this content over the last few weeks, and obviously the final few days could be pretty exciting in the transfer window.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to just focusing on football next week. On the subject of Chelsea, though, we begin at Stamford Bridge because there could be a lot of activity happening there in terms of outgoings. Obviously, the club have done a lot of business already this summer. Kicking off with Ross Barkley, Sam.
Yeah, man, obviously, like you said, Chelsea have been active in the transfer window. We've made 7 signings this season that has equated to 250 million euros. And obviously, we still want to sign more, so we had to get some people out of the club. And Ross Barkley seems to be the first man. He's officially made his move to Aston Villa on loan initially, and that's going to be a season-long loan. Obviously, he's one of the fringe players, one of the players that kind of not really found his feet in the starting lineup. He is obviously an English international, but he will be Villa's 5th signing of the summer, which has been quite a good summer for Villa fans. I know they're going to be excited with the business they've done. Obviously, if we're looking at his stats, it might not be that exciting for Villa fans. He's only scored 4 times and assisted 9 times across 2 Premier League seasons. But he's only been given 2,340 minutes, and that basically equates to 0.36 assists per 90, which in the 18-19 season was the 7th best in the Prem. Something you can be excited though for Villa fans is his passing. He completed 89% of his passes last season, and he completed 3 shots and key passes per game, and that obviously could be helpful for Grealish, who sometimes does have the burden of kind of being the person that creates the key pass and is on the end of it as well. So that will be good for him. But that is not the last that Frank Lampard is trying to do this transfer window. I believe he's trying to not get rid of Loftus-Cheek. That sounds a bit harsh. Just give him a home where he can get a lot more minutes. Obviously, coming back from the injury that he's had is kind of hard to now try and find his spot in the Chelsea squad with all of the players that have come in. But he's definitely one of the players that he wants to look to loan out to another team. The 24-year-old made 9 appearances last season in all competitions, but the season before that he did score 10 times and assisted 5, and he did get 7 goals in the campaign that we under Sarri, where we won the Europa League, and he was kind of becoming a key player for Sarri during that time. So it was unfortunate that he did get that injury, but like Barkley, he is on the fringes of the squad. Hasn't really got a run-in since Lampard has come in, and I think him going out on loan would be better for his future. But obviously, Mikey, those aren't the only 2 players that Lampard's looking to ship out. Who else is there?
No, not at all. Yeah, clearly a lot of work may still be done. One player who looks certain to leave is centre-back Antonio Rudiger. The German international has emerged as a bit of a scapegoat for Chelsea's defensive frailties. I know a lot of Chelsea fans have been quite critical of him in kind of months gone by, but I do remember, especially under Sarri, easily the most consistent player in that back line, or at least the most consistent centre-back in that back line. So again, a little bit like Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I think his career at Stamford Bridge has kind of taken a turn for the worse under Lampard. Obviously, he prefers Christensen and Zuma, and obviously Thiago Silva, who was brought in this summer, and Tomori. He's used him more than Rudiger so far this season. So it looks like he's probably on the move. And going into his stats, because obviously, I guess we're kind of trying to big up these players a little bit for prospective buyers. Managed 2.5 tackles and interceptions last season. Completed 5.9 long balls per 90, which is very impressive. So he does have all the qualities of a decent ball playing centre back. Values is around 40 million euros. PSG and West Ham both interested. I know Spurs are also interested if their move for Milan Skriniar doesn't come off. So yeah, I'm not sure whether Chelsea would be able to get a fee for him at this stage. Again, it might have to be a loan move or at a cut price. I can't see any clubs paying more than 20 million for him, I don't think. And finally, we have Callum Hudson-Odoi, who could still push for a move. He's had a little bit of a disappointing few months, hasn't he? Obviously got that very important goal against West Brom on the weekend, but that was followed by a fairly poor showing in the defeat to Tottenham in the League Cup. Only one shot on target all game, completed 0 dribbles. He lost possession 12 times. Really did not look great running that line. But obviously a very exciting winger nonetheless, and I think a little bit of a victim of the business Chelsea have done in the last 12 months. Obviously, even going back to the signing of Pulisic in 2019, and now with Hakim Ziyech coming in and Havertz, and Werner obviously playing off the left as well in recent weeks. It's just hard to see how he gets opportunities now at Stamford Bridge. So I think, for him, again, a loan move seems like an obvious shout unless a club is willing to part with over 40 million for him. Even then, I'm not sure whether Chelsea would accept. I feel like with Lampard, there's kind of mixed messages in that, like, ideally he wants to bring through young players, but he's clearly not prioritising that in terms of the club challenging on multiple fronts over the next year. I don't know how you feel about that, Sam, because obviously, I mean, Bayern Munich are rumoured to be interested in him, but I don't see him getting any more game time there. If you were Hudson-Odoi, what would your feelings be?
It's a tough one because obviously you see that Lampard actually does believe in him. He does believe in his talent. When he did sign that new contract, like, Lampard was one of the big reasons why he did sign it, because of the belief and confidence that he showed in him. But obviously after the injury, I think we underestimate how hard it is to come back from injuries in general, but also as a young player. Like, that's going to be that's going to play on your mind a lot, especially when your team is bringing in new players constantly, players that are great players, that are the senior players that are coming from around the globe, and you're thinking, okay, cool, what do I do at this moment? I personally think that he should stay because the team that we have now, he's probably one of 3 or 4 players that are wide men, like ultimately wide men. And when Pulisic isn't available, I know Havertz and Mount can play out wide, but there's no one that's got that directness like Hudson-Odoi and Pulisic to a certain extent. So it's really tough because I see where Lampard is coming. I see another side of it where you're not sure about these young players if they're really going to bang, if they're really going to, like, take heed of the instructions and live up to their potential, because we've seen loads of players come through Chelsea and you thought they were going to be amazing and they end up on loan for another 5-6 years. So it's a real tough one, but Hudson-Odoi, I genuinely believe he's special. Just give him a few games and just show him confidence. Let him have that confidence, that belief that the manager believes in him, the club believes in him, and I genuinely believe he'll be a starter for Chelsea, or at least competing.
Yeah, fair enough. I think obviously out of the players we've discussed, I think he definitely has the brightest future, doesn't he? I think with Ruben Loftus-Cheek, I think as well, I actually think he would be a good option to keep at Chelsea as well. Just for depth, I think it's going to be a really tough season, isn't it? Obviously, a very congested fixture list, with it starting late, and Chelsea are back in the Champions League this year as well. So. Yeah. Sorry, not back in the Champions League, but they are in the Champions League again and will want to challenge more seriously. I think Loftus-Cheek was actually linked with Villa before the Barkley move. I think West Ham have been linked with him. I actually don't think that would be a bad shout. I think they could definitely do with some more creativity coming from midfield. So yeah, I think there's a lot of options, and very quickly as well. Another former Chelsea man who only left at the start of the year, Tariq Lamptey. He's attracting interest from Bayern Munich as well.
Of course.
So just goes to show that taking the leap for young players at Chelsea is not necessarily the worst option. But before we move on, we want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments below which of these players who could be leaving Chelsea, who would you want at your club the most and why? Let's move on to EFD fixes.
Before we move on to the next section, that is EFD fixes, this is just a reminder to subscribe and hit the notification bell to never miss an EFD video ever again in your life. That's what you're selling yourself to, and that's what you need to, because the content that we be bringing is solid, yeah? But anyway, back to EFD fixes. Obviously, this section is where we look at a player at your club or a player that your club was targeted and wasn't able to get. So we're giving you a few suggestions as alternatives to said player. So Mikey, what are we saying?
Yeah, well, we're looking at Real Madrid's Luka Jovic this week. Obviously, a player who's been talked about a lot in the transfer market this summer, being the subject of interest from a lot of clubs, or supposedly has at least. I know there was talk of him going to AC Milan earlier in the window, wasn't there? But reports this week are suggesting that Spurs and United are the clubs who are in for him. Obviously, both clubs are kind of looking for kind of long-term backup options, striking options. I think in the case of Spurs, definitely a backup to Harry Kane. In the case of United, maybe Jovic would be more competition to Martial. But either way, it doesn't look like he's got a future at Real Madrid for now, at least. Obviously, he's had a pretty disappointing time at the Bernabeu since his €60 million move last summer. In 1920, he didn't even play 500 La Liga minutes. He scored twice and posted an assist, which actually is not bad considering the game time that he had. So yeah, I think it would be a very good move for Jovic to leave Real Madrid this summer. However, considering that no move has come about yet, would suggest to me that it's probably more unlikely than likely that he would move to Spurs and United. I feel like there would have been more progress on a deal like this earlier in the summer if it was truly legitimate, despite journalists like Gianluca Di Marzio claiming that he is someone that, say, United are looking at this week. I just can't see it happening. So we've got a few. I'll touch on a few alternatives, and then Sam, I think you're going to come in with our more in-depth look. But Edinson Cavani is also a player who's been linked with United at least. He's available, obviously, still as a free agent after being released by PSG this summer. As a backup option, especially, I think he would be pretty excellent, especially if you're chasing a goal late in the game and need something a little bit different up top. In the box, he is still as good as ever, I think. Another player who's been touted is Napoli's Arkadiusz Milik. Obviously, he's been on the transfer rumour mill a lot this summer. And finally, we've got Josh King, who has also been linked with a move to Torino, but has been also linked with moves to Tottenham and Man United over the last 12 months. But Sam, we've got, I think, a little bit more of an interesting shout, and a player who I feel, I don't know, maybe a little bit insulting to call him a backup, because he has been excellent over the last few years, hasn't he?
Yeah, 100%. He's probably one of Europe's most underrated strikers, and that is Villarreal's Gerard Moreno. He had a terrific season last year. He scored 18 times for the Yellow Submarine. He's already scored twice this season, and the thing that makes him so good in the forward line is his mobility on the ball and off the ball, but especially in front of goal. He always finds himself in the perfect position. Last season, he completed 1.7 dribbles per game and dribbled past 63 people. And obviously that might sound little, yeah, but that is a lot of people. That is the 10th most in the division. He wasn't the most accurate shooter, only hitting the target with 37% of his efforts. But obviously he takes 2.9 shots per 90, which kind of gives him the opportunity to miss, because you always know he's going to get these chances. He also has an XG chain per 90 of 0.5, which means that he's involved in a goal he's expected to be involved in a goal every other game. And for someone that we're saying will be a backup at Real Madrid, he will definitely be someone that they'll be able to use off the bench. Obviously, it might be hard to tempt him away to being the main man, to being kind of like a side man, a little bit. But at the same time, I do believe with 30 million euros that he's been touted, and with Zinedine Zidane giving him a little nudge, I think he would be quality for them, Mikey. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, he'd certainly be a good option as a backup to Benzema at Real Madrid. Like you say, decently priced if reports are to be believed, and if Zidane likes him, then that's obviously a good sign as well. He's just like you're saying, he's a all-round excellent centre forward. Can do a lot of jobs. Pretty creative as well. Obviously is very strong up top and a good dribbler. And I think for United and Spurs, again, would be an excellent pickup. Personally, I just can't see it happening because I think Villarreal have done very good business this year, and that would be undone completely by getting rid of Moreno. I think that's like that's waving goodbye to their hopes of a top 6 finish in La Liga, whereas now they've got hopes of going for the Champions League. So I can't see it happening, but I do think that Moreno has been slept on a little bit. I'm surprised that no one's really made a serious offer for him this summer, because I do think he's one of the more reliable strikers in Europe. But that's all we have time for today on Transfer Review. I think it is. Yeah, I do think it is the final one. But you will be seeing
final one, man.
Emotional. It's been it's been a great transfer window. Better than we expected. But you obviously will be
not
seeing.
Not for you guys though.
Sorry.
Hopefully you guys have a good last few days in it.
Man United?
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I might just unplug myself from social media for the next 5 days, and then just put it back on Tuesday and see if anything's happened. Not holding my breath just yet. But if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave it a like. And Sam, where should they go next?
Yeah, go to FD and watch all of our top 10s. That's all I'm going to say. Watch our videos and the podcast, actually, the Go to Podcast show, podcast channel. And any Chelsea fans that are frustrated with how we're playing right now, give me a shout, because I've got a lot to say.
All right, well, thanks for watching anyway, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
See you later, guys. Bye.